Hello, I want to share some of my results achieved thanks to the study of the teaching of Grigory Petrovich Grabovoi, together with the device for the development of concentrations of eternal life PRK1U. I got acquainted with the teaching of Grigory Grabovoi in March 2018. In the process of mastering the teaching, I became convinced that it is of a creative nature and accessible for assimilation by every person. In the application of the teaching of Grigory Grabovoi, one applied the control methods outlined in his works. Testimony. In December 2021, while making a movement with my left arm during a Pilates class, I had a sprain of the shoulder ligaments. At that time I was also moving house, and therefore I could not stay at rest. I decided that for the moment I would not go to get checkups, and I immediately began to do the concentrations for the shoulder, which hurt quite a lot and had reduced mobility. I used a little bit of all the methods from the teaching that I knew at the time. But in particular I worked with the number series contained in the books by Grigory Grabovoi, Restoration of the Human Organism Through Concentration on Numbers, 1999, and Recovery of Man's Matter by Concentration on Numbers, 2002. Doing all the 9 methods showed in the introduction by the author. I also used other methods from the following teachings of 2016. The teaching of Grigory Grabovoi about God. Control for tissue regeneration in the future. The teaching of Grigory Grabovoi about God. The principle of whole action in evolutionary development for ensuring eternal life. The teaching of Grigory Grabovoi about God. Evolution of consciousness through the local matter of the organism for ensuring eternal life. It took me several months, working daily together with my PRK1U device, but I restored both the joint and the mobility of the shoulder completely, and I am very satisfied with this result. In the same period, a part of a molar broke because of a little stone that was accidentally in the food I was eating. The tooth had an old filling, and it broke, leaving the pulp exposed. Obviously, I could not eat anything in those conditions, and it was very painful. I began to apply various methods from the teaching of Grigory Grabovoi, both those that I have already mentioned and the one that I had learned at a seminar on materialization held by Marina Morotskina, based on the knowledge contained in Grabovoi's book The Resurrection of People and Eternal Life From Now On Is Our Reality, 2001. During the concentrations I perceived well the remote areas of consciousness from which micromatter was arriving into my tooth. And also with all the other methods used to restore the matter of the tooth I perceived movements, cracklings, metallic taste in the part, and this makes me understand that I am working correctly. After some time I was able again to eat, to rub the toothbrush on the part of the tooth without feeling any pain, and the pulp is no longer exposed. New dental matter is visible there. The tooth is not fully reconstructed, but I continue to work on it together with my device. I received other results as well, also for the health of other people and for the normalization of events. But I want to conclude this video testimony by telling a beautiful thing that happened to me, which says that everything that is found in the works of Grigory Grabovoi is true, and which makes me understand how important the transmission of divine knowledge from person to person is. I help Olga to translate from Russian into Italian the testimonies for the YouTube channel of the Educational Center of Grigory Grabovoi. They are all very beautiful, and when I read the results achieved by many people, my heart fills with joy and with hope. In April 2025 I translated a testimony of a Russian lady who, thanks to the methods of Grabovoi and PRK1 new device, had restored an apricot tree dried under her house, making it bloom again. On my terrace I have a tree that in that period, precisely in April, had not yet put forth a single bud nor a little leaf. I was sorry because in other years in this period it already had its leaves, while now it seemed dry. But after I translated that testimony which told of that beautiful result, I felt the impulse to go on the terrace to look at my tree. It was not the first time I looked at it, but this time the look was different. It brought knowledge to the tree. I really felt it physically. It lasted about a minute or maybe less, but the feeling that my tree would put leaves was so clear. More than a feeling, it was a certainty. It was also easy for me to see the tree already with all its leaves in a happy and brighting image. I went back into the house and instinctively I went to look at my PRK1U, as if to fix what I had perceived. I made a very short concentration, and the device sent me back that information amplified. And I did nothing more for it because I was sure of what would happen. After a few days my tree began to sprout, and this spring and summer it filled with flowers and leaves. I thank Grigory Grabovoi infinitely for the knowledge in his works and for having created these so effective devices, which help all humanity to be saved and to live forever.